Where is almost a guaranteed place when you're fishing rivers, a guaranteed place that you could go like spot after spot after spot and have a chance to catch a fish on every single one of them? Wow, that's a beauty. Good morning, guys and gals. April 19, one of my heroes in the Bible, Joshua and Caleb. Those were the two spies that reported great things to the Israeli people. They were tough men's men, and Joshua become a leader of the children of Israel after Moses. And here's what Joshua says in 23:15, Joshua 23:15. Every good promise that the Lord your God has made has come true, and in the same way his other promises will come true. So every good promise that God has made you up till now has come true, and in the same way his other promises are going to come true also. If you've been a Christian very long, like I have, I got saved when I was like 12 years old, and so I've been a Christian for a long time, and I've seen God's promises come through in my life time after time after time after time after time. The situation we're going through now, God is fulfilling promises right and left. I'm talking about just right and left. But just think about it. No matter what you're going through right now, whatever you're going through, just remember what God's done in the past. Just remember the promises that he's made to you in the past and how he's fulfilled them. And keep in mind that in the same way his other promises will come true also. Let's see what I wrote about that. The Ohio River around Cincinnati is not known as a great place to fish. In fact, it's pretty much known as just the opposite. A couple of my hunting buddies, Bill Eppards and Jack Cratch, promised me a great fishing trip if I would do a television show with Jack on the Ohio River. Keep in mind that once in a BASS tournament on the Ohio River, I finished 40th place, which is the last place in the money. We had 300 people in the tournament, and they paid 40 places. The last place in the money, I finished 40th. I was the last person to get a check in that tournament. I caught two bass in 3 days. 2 bass in 3 days. And I think I might have caught both of those the same day. I can't remember. I think I caught one day, one the other. Those are the kind of tournaments you kind of want to forget. You will remember you made the money because you pretty much remember most of the times you made the money, but particularly if you made the money with only 2 fish in 3 days. So that's just how tough it was. I showed up. That's just what I do for buddies, you know. I showed up, and we fished below one of the locks and dams about 20 miles from the city, about 20 miles from Cincinnati. We fished a head and zare spook along the concrete walls down below the locks. That is a navigable river, the Ohio, obviously, and you lock through, and we were fishing below the locks, fishing the concrete walls, just solid up and down concrete walls that was below those locks. The hybrid bass fishing was incredible. Now, a hybrid is, in the Midwest, a lot of people call those wipers. They're a cross, a blend between a white bass and a saltwater striper. And they call them wipers or hybrids. In Oklahoma and Texas, we call them hybrids. Kansas, as an example, they call them wipers. A little further north, they call them wipers. But the hybrid bass fishing was incredible. We caught so many hybrids between 5 and 14 pounds that we couldn't keep count. I mean, and we're catching them on topwater. So you talk about a 12 or 14 pound fish going up on a topwater bait that you're walking across the top of the water. It's magic. I mean, it was just absolutely fantastic, and it was just great. Sometimes it's surprising when a friend's promise comes true, especially the things that people promise me in the way of hunting and fishing. It's kind of surprising sometimes when it turns out as good as they really said it was going to be. But I can promise you, without a doubt, whatever God promises will come true. Whatever God promises will come true. And y'all know I've been seeing a lot of God's promises come true here lately, and I expect to see lots more of God's promises come true, because God is a great God. And as Joshua 23:15 says, every good promise that the Lord your God has made has come true. That's what he was telling the children of Israel. You got to realize these are people that came out of slavery, out of bondage. They saw God part waters. They saw God send quail into their camp that was hovering about 3 foot above the ground. Everybody's a good quail hunter if they don't fly any faster and further, higher than that. And they just go out and knock the quail down and catch them. He gave them manna from heaven. He gave them miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle. He made promises come true, promises come true. And that's what he was talking to, is those children of Israel, and telling them that every good promise that he's ever made's come true. His other promises will come true also. His other promises will come true also. Here's our tip for today. Fish the mouths of small feeder creeks that run into a river. If you're going to fish a river somewhere, it doesn't matter where it is. I remember one time over in a Beaver Lake tournament over at Beaver Lake over in Arkansas, that Chris and I took off and run up to practice one day in the river. And the only thing we did, we hit the mouths of little feeder creeks as running in. We ended up 40 or 50 miles from takeoff, but we could catch a fish or two almost every one of them. Not every one of them, but we found some of them that were better than others. And I ended up going up there and fishing in the tournament and catching a really nice check in the tournament, fishing just simply the mouths of those feeder creeks. So one of the things you can do if you're going to fish a river is simply go until you see some little ditch or creek or feeder creek or something coming into it. Now, if it's a pretty good sized feeder creek, you may want to go on up and fish it. But any little thing, you got a couple of points right there, you got water running in that's meshing, different watercolors are matching together, the shad and bluegill and stuff are going to hang out on that point, and it's a great place to catch bass. So remember that tip, because if you're on a river, you're having a hard time catching them, just start running up that river till you see something coming in, start fishing it. Remember, I did that same thing up in Connecticut, at Hartford, Connecticut, fishing that river up there. Did the same thing, went way up, started fishing where the water run in, and catched another good check in that tournament. I think I finished up in the top 20 in that one. Guys and girls, go out there and have you a great day today, and remember, I sure do love you.